Avrupa'dan Türkiye'ye dijital, masrafsız ve güvenilir para transferi uygulaması TransferGo'nun sunduğu sokak röportajları başlıyor.
Everything's cheap, isn't it? Like for us,
It's cheap. The food
really
is
cheap
very
for us.
cheap.
And I said, like, you get like, it's more expensive than last time I came. I think I got more lira to my pound about 18 months ago when I was here, but it's still really cheap compared to the, British pound, So.
But yeah, food is definitely really well priced here.
Yeah, food and drink and
Yeah.
hotels are cheap. So.
It's economic Istanbul so, but Russian ruble like 5 rubles. It's very good for us and bad for Istanbul.
The flights were quite cheap, and generally Istanbul has a lower cost of living than the UK. Like in any other place in Europe, I could go to France or something, but I'd end up spending more there than I did here. And things like hotels are cheaper as well. We're here for a few more days. That's actually funny because my boyfriend over there was just saying that he wants to come back in a few months' time to get more things because we couldn't fit everything in our bags, do some more shopping, but yeah.
And for us, as for Russians, it's pretty cheap to travel here. This is the best opportunity to check out the best foods ever. Not so expensive. This is pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap because of currency. It's about 5.5 rubles, and $1, for example, is 75 rubles. Very cheap, very cheap. That's why we came here.
Comparing with countries where there are euros and dollars, I think, especially for Russians, Turkey can be a really interesting destination when it comes to money, because it's not, I would not say that it's cheap to travel to Istanbul and to Turkey, but it's fine, I think.
Yes. Coming from Germany, definitely. Yeah.
The exchange rate right now is unfortunate. It is for our Turkish partners. It's it's beneficial for us spending dollars and euros, certainly.
Definitely very affordable. Like eating out, and I mean, it's much more so even in Ankara, I think. It's very affordable to eat out and shopping, yeah. Especially coming from the EU, yeah.
It was not the reason why we wanted to visit Istanbul, but indeed we see that it's pretty cheap for people from Western Europe to stay here, and that's also nice, of course. And also for students or young people who want to visit a beautiful city, it's a great experience. Yes.
Depends where they come from, It's something in the middle, I believe. It's pretty cheap, and pretty tasty, and pretty beautiful.
I think it's cheaper just because the currency exchange is really good for us in Europe. Let's say it this way.
Yeah, that's right.
The exchange rate is definitely a positive thing for us.
Yeah, it's definitely a big plus at the moment, that's for sure. But I guess you would come anyways.
Yeah. So for us, for Bulgarians, Turkey is cheap, but Istanbul is expensive. Edirne is much cheaper, for instance, much closer. It's on the cheaper side, yes. And it's easier for us to come from Bulgaria because I don't have to plan a plane trip, Right. And it helps now with the pandemic. I never know when I can travel and all that, so.
It is cheap, yes. That's why we chose to came here second time, because it's very cheap for us.
It's very affordable.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Experience a new culture.
Yeah, that I like to go to different places. Yeah, and to spend here. The conversion, it's been in our favor, honestly.
Yeah.
So I can't complain.
No complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find cheap places, but yeah, maybe it can be a motivation for some people.
For us now it's cheap than Europe, really, because of the lira course, and it's really cool. So we came here and we decided to move also to Cappadocia. To go there tomorrow, we rent a car. So for us, it's really cool. It's really cool because lira is very good.
Well, there's the obvious things that it's a lot cheaper to travel here. You can get a lot more for your money to eat out and drink, and I would say so. But maybe my comparison, London is not a cheap city to live in, so this is a good value city to experience. But I've not kind of gone to many cities like this before, so experience something a bit different. But I think that's probably one of the factors for sure.
Economic reasons. I think that Istanbul is not a very expensive city, but in general I think it is one of the cheapest European capitals.
It has the same price, all the building, the room, hotel, to have lunch and everything. It has all the same level, but we thinking that it could be cheaper.
At the moment, it's cheap compared to a few years ago. Yeah. So it's affordable.
It is for sure.
You get a lot for your money as well, coming from Australia.
And it's also the capital of aesthetic surgeries, which is why I'm here
Yeah,
for.
definitely a lot cheaper for tourists.
I think so. This is the first time we've ever been overseas, and it's
very cheap.
yeah, we're getting a lot for our money.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
I think it's affordable. It's not really cheap, but also it's not expensive, and you can find like different categories of hotels, restaurants here for different prices.
Affordable price is different for any people. No, affordable.
It's not cheap, but affordable.
I would say it's quite cheap
Yeah,
in comparison to France.
cheaper than France, so it's
Right now it's very affordable.
Yeah, for us it's very affordable right now coming here.
The high inflation and the weak currency, it's pretty affordable.
I think it's affordable. It's maybe cheaper than much more cities like this. It's a huge city, and it's cheaper than Tokyo, than New York, than Moscow. That's all. I think so.
It's cheap and it's amazing city, very historic. It's very cheap, and the money from Istanbul is very down now.
Yeah, it's affordable.
It's really affordable.
Yeah.
It's great and it's super cool.
Oh, we love it here. Like we were yesterday, so we didn't have much time to, but we enjoy a lot. Yeah.
Oh, we think it's...
At the moment it's really cheap, I think, yes.
We come from Greece, yes, and the difference is really, yes, big.
Yeah, it's definitely a great country for the value that, of food and accommodation, so it's definitely affordable to come here. Well, since I am from Mexico, I think it's about the same.
Turkey is cheap relatively to like Europe. So I think it's cheap. Like for me, the rent is not so cheap actually, but depends on where you live, obviously. But like the food and the transportation and just being around is a lot cheaper than Greece.
Everything is cheap here, the food and everything. For the foreigners, yes, but for people who live here, it's not so cheap because the economy is so bad now. But for us, when we come from Europe here, it's so cheap. It's really cheap, yes. Also the clothes and everything you buy is like the half of the price when you buy in Europe.
Like just it's good, it's cheap, good. I think it's a bit cheaper than in my country. Like maybe in my country, for example, if I want to have a breakfast, I can pay, I don't know, like 500 lira, right? And here is like 300, for example. It's like 20% cheaper here.
I think it's quite cheap, and but unfortunately now for Russians it's very quite expensive for of course sad reasons. Unfortunately, I think it's cheap, quite cheap. Yeah. It's a good city for tourists.
TransferGo'nun sunduğu sokak röportajları sona erdi. TransferGo, uygun kur ve düşük gönderim ücretiyle 7/24 uluslararası para transferi yapabileceğiniz bir mobil uygulama. Siz de uygulamayı indirin ve 3,5 milyon TransferGo'luya katılın. TransferGo, para transferinin en kolay yolu o.